followers of more right-wing ideologies do is try to separate the empathy
set up one of the
from
chairs you have
the
next to
person.
you.
Maybe, yeah. Yep. You go. They try to separate the empathy from the person so that they can justify actions that are detrimental to society as a whole.
Okay, give me a second. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if y'all are on here or whatever. If you're in here, I'm having a very interesting conversation with a very interesting guy. You might recognize him as Troy McClure. No, I'm kidding. You might recognize him as
Tyrell Roberts.
Tyrell Roberts.
Co-host of Luke Policy
Right, the guy that swore a lot on the one podcast that we had.
Not today.
Right, not today. But we're having the most interesting conversation. I really wanted to capture this live for a few reasons. Number one, I can take from this and I can use, like some excerpts. But I think it's very interesting the direction we're going. A very historical perspective and a biological and a genetic perspective.
Yeah, they're talking about culture and human society.
Yeah.
How disability relates to it. How political parties and ideologies affect disability and how it actually affects society.
Right. And so I want to go back with him just a little bit. So where do we go back? Let's go back.
Okay, let's go back to we're talking about culture.
Okay, but let's go back. Hang on. Let's go back to Babylon. I want to go back that far.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we can go even further. Okay, we can go back to Stone Age.
No, let's take it from Babylonia.
Okay.
Okay.
Which part? Which cultural aspect?
Well, okay, so we were talking about Babylonia and how Babylon and how the Judaism or the Christian belief came out of that.
The subsequent religions, Abrahamic religions of the area.
Yep.
After, oh my God, there I am. Afterwards,
yep.
Let me just get information, get it up.
Yep.
Babylon. Okay. So, Babylon was an ancient polytheistic belief system originating in Mesopotamia. Evolving from early Sumerian traditions, it centered on hundreds of deities, monumental set periods called ziggurats, and deeply intertwined practices of astronomy, deviation used by priests to interpret divine will. Okay? So that concept was it's not specific to the world, but the version of it is very specific to the Tigris Valley, where a lot of people thought civilization actually started, but civilization actually started in multiple different areas, multiple different cultures across the world. Right. So you're going to have areas in China that started their version of city-based cultures and civilizations. There are areas in North America that started it. Major ones in South America and such and such. But because of such, okay, now this ties in to religions that followed after Babylon and Sumeria. Because at a point,
the tie around
Marduk, their patron god. Once Babylon rose to political dominance, as in the city and the people itself rose to political dominance, they chose their patron god, Marduk, to be elevated status of supreme king of the gods. King of kings. That sound familiar? Okay? Now, in their worldview, creation stories recorded in clay tablets using the first form of writing, cuneiform. So we have actual records of what they thought and what they believed. The most famous is the Enuma Elias, an epic detailing how Marduk defeated the chaos monster Tiamat. If anyone plays video games, you might recognize the name Tiamat, which again is within our own culture because of our ties to Babylon in the Tigris Valley. Okay? Any D&D person is going to know Tiamat as a multi-headed dragon, right? That as an aspect of evil is within our culture because our culture derives, as a Western culture, derives all the way back to Babylon. Right? Right. The concept of astrology and divination. Okay? So the reason that Jesus, okay, is a fish, Pisces, is because he was born when Pisces was the most dominant in the sky. That time period when Jesus was born, Pisces was the most dominant in the sky. That's why he's tied to the fish. and giving fish and the symbol of the fish. Okay? But that ties all the way back to Babylon in the Tigris Valley. Right?
Okay, so you and I mean, we went through this a little bit more hyper, quickly. So let me just get to, we have Babylon.
Yeah.
And then what came out of Babylon? What
Okay.
was the shift?
Okay. So while civilizations eventually fell, it's Babylon's cosmology heavily influenced neighboring cultures. Later Mesopotamian empires like Assyrian, Egyptian, and other ones, and even aspects of classical and biblical literature. Okay? So the aspects of Babylonian mythology show up in Christian mythology because it's still a Tigris Valley-based religion and area.
Okay, good. And so, but what were we talking about specifically? Babylon became or warred in what respect?
Okay, the history of Babylon.
Right. No, but don't go to your notes because we were doing great without your notes.
Yeah.
Put those away because you were doing so great. And I think if I understand, people will understand. Thank you for sticking with us, ladies and gentlemen. So we are at the point of Babylon.
Yeah.
But warring factions fought.
Yeah.
And so just explain that in the way that we talked about it.
During the first specs of human civilization, there was no concept of nations. Okay, you were tied to wherever you lived. So more or less, it was city-state based. So the Tigris Valley fought multiple wars, multiple different cities, and warlords that literally could conquer islands in the Tigris River and conquered other city-states, and allowed their kings to keep ruling, but only under the rule of Babylon. So we all started as city-states, just like South America and the Mayan temples. The reasons they were conquered, at that point they were still city-states, and were not a unified defiance against colonial incursion, which operated as a superstructure nation. The Spaniards, their group was able to isolate off different city-states in the Mayan South America, and isolate them off, and they were conquered before they realized what was happening.
Okay. Right? And they would have adopted, when we go to the Mayan, I know we're flipping ahead here.
Yeah.
But when we went to the Mayan, when we go to the Mayan,
yeah,
we start to see the integration of Catholicism brought by the Spaniards into the archaic religion.
No, it's not archaic.
Not
no
archaic.
Religion's archaic.
Okay,
it's
great.
suited to the environment they live in.
Okay, great. Yeah,
right?
Archaic, wrong word.
Because archaic
historical.
Would be,
historical.
Yeah, historical.
Historical.
For them, it's not archaic. For them, it was a way of organizing society to adapt to the jungle and environment.
Right.
Right. Because every religion, every identity, every culture is a way to adapting to resource accumulation and your area and your group.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Just like our aspects here, we recognize ourselves as Albertans. Because we live in Alberta and the resources and the cultures involved.
Right.
But so they went to Babylon city-states. Yep. One fought other, others collapsed. There's first records of massacres with burning on old clay walls, clay buildings and temples as they were burnt to the ground. Right. And then it started to evolve into tribe cultural identities of a larger group. So we got the Elamites in the north, Sumerians in the south, and Babylonians started to evolve themselves past single city-states into multiple city-states. Right? Have a greater social adaptation for a larger monkey sphere group beyond 100.
Right. Now that's kind of what we were talking about was this monkey sphere. There is another word for it, and I forget what the number, something number.
Yeah.
But we're talking about this, about how we lived until, and I think this is where him and I were diverging, was on our definition of evolution. Yeah. Because my definition is that we've devolved.
There is no such concept as de-evolution.
Okay, go ahead.
De-evolution doesn't exist. Okay. Because that would make you, that would be you going backwards in time. Okay. So
that would hang on. I want to stop you. That would be true biologically, but can't that be not true psychologically, ideologically? Could we not be going backwards?
It depends on your no. It depends no because time only moves forward. We're only evolving into something worse.
Okay. All right.
Right?
I'll give you that.
There's no de-evolution. We're just evolving into something worse. And time only moves forward.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Right. So if I say devolve, well, I could say devolve because we're going back to those moments
We
that
can be degrading
constituted.
culturally or morally,
Yeah.
but we're still evolving into that degradation.
Okay, I get you.
Right?
Oh,
Because we're changing into it. There's no concept of us to degrade from it.
okay.
So even if we degraded back to Neanderthal state,
Yeah.
it's because the environmental pressures forced us to evolve back into that to better survive the elements presented to us.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We would not be de-evolving. We would
Right.
be re-evolving into Neanderthals.
It's re-evolving. Okay.
Right.
All right. All right.
Because
I see the
yeah.
distinction you're making. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Neanderthals had different bone structures for breathing in lighter environments.
Right.
They had thicker bones.
Right.
They had different ways of dealing with pain.
Okay.
If the skeletons even show multiple breaks, because their hunting methods were run up, stab, because their shoulder joints, again, their biology affected their culture, which affected their biology.
Okay.
They couldn't throw,
Okay.
right? Right? Where chimpanzees have like the same thing.
Okay.
Where humans, even sapiens, we learn to throw things,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Homo sapiens were stalking and sturdy because they lived in colder
So
regions.
we evolved a greater rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our ability to pick up a rocket
Okay.
is different than a chimpanzee.
All
And
right.
it's different than a Neanderthal.
Okay.
Right? They had the same type, they're homeless genus, but
Okay.
they had less of a rotation ability than we did,
Uh-huh.
which affected the way they hunted, which
Uh-huh.
affected how they gathered resources, which affected how they had children, which
Okay.
affected how their stories were told around a campfire, which
Okay.
affected their culture,
Right.
which culture is just a set of stories you tell your kids to adapt to environments they haven't encountered.
Okay. So if we hyper evolve the conversation, let's say, toward today, and I know this is a hyper evolution right now, but bear with me. How in today's society do we become so disparate, so disconnected, so uninvolved in the life of the other, coming from the collectivism, that we had previously and prior?
No, this is how we ended up detaching from each other.
Oh,
Uh,
well,
technology.
but let's go back a little bit.
It starts early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
It starts early on. Multiple different reasons. Multiple different empires used the method of degradation to keep people off kilt enough to adopt what they believed in, or their culture, or their economic values, or yada yada yada.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Judaism. Not that we're against
Oh,
Zionism. I can tell you that we're not against the typical Jew living in
We're talking
in
about
New York.
Zionists. Let's leave it there.
Right.
We're not talking about followers of Hebrew faith.
Right.
We're talking about a very small subsect that uses their faith as a way to attack others and justify what the general population considers evil.
Right. And we're also going to admit that this is not a new thing.
No,
It didn't come from Judaism. It came far before any.
it's a human tactic
Right.
meant to colonize.
Right.
The dehumanizing effect. Right. We did it during World War II. Propaganda. We did it too. Nazis are evil. The Japanese Empire. We had very racial characteristics on propaganda because we had to otherize people. Because people actually do not want to hurt other people. Our empathy prevents us from doing so. But if you make them an other, an alien, a foreign enemy, something that's not you, you can more easily harm the other thing.
So you have to set them up before they fall.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't come with a humanistic ideology.
You have to
degrade the humanistic understanding to include something else in which you can then other that individual.
You literally have to degrade.
Am I correct?
Yeah. A
Okay.
standard what a toddler comes out of,
Yep.
out of a normal human interaction. To make a soldier, you have to mentally break someone.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
You have to mentally break them through repeated action.
We support the disability community.
Oh, awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. So
Our
there are
ability to
breakdowns,
live
plain
here
language
with
breakdowns,
dignity
and
and
this
ability
is just to represent everybody that we've lost who've fallen without support.
Oh, I totally understand. Basically, being Albertans, we are being attacked under ability. Our ability to have dignity and freedom, we have to operate as Albertans.
Right.
Right? They're making it a three-tier work-related program, and not even telling us how
For disability?
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
actually,
even telling us
I know
how
a little bit about
right?
this.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
On my
I know,
disability,
have a couple of friends.
on my disability, I helped raise my niece and nephew. I'm president of my local community. I made a
You guys
haunted
just
house.
lost $200 a month, right?
Yeah, right. Oh, that and
I know.
200 more next Christmas. Yeah. So they're stealing they're stealing $200 from the federal government is giving us. They decided we don't deserve that, and they're just going to take it to the tune of $15 million, right? And then they're paying two private companies $93 million to not even get us jobs, just to push us.
And one of those companies called Serco is a military contractor. Okay,
for the concentration
know.
camps.
Right.
They work for the people doing AI
you wanna
to
get
launch
some
missiles
friends.
at children. That's
Right.
good.
Right. So look it up because it's a very important thing.
Oh, I know. Dad knows all about this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just
Right.
doing my spiel, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. I understand your frustration.
Yeah.
Like, all I want to do is live with dignity and not worry.
It's our frustration right now, but think about it. If we're using military contractors to take care of disparate individuals, what does that mean for anybody?
Already are under investigation for multiple scandals.
Right. We've
In
investigated
Ontario,
all this.
Welcome to the government, man.
Yeah,
Our
but no.
government is so corrupt,
But,
man.
it's a private-public partnership, right? It's corporations with the government that's the problem.
Right.
So in Ontario, they did the driver program, right? They administered a driver program. They're under investigation right now for falsifying documents for allowing people to drive trucks that shouldn't have been driving trucks.
None of this surprises me. It's our government.
And now they're letting us administer it to disabled people. It's just giving us money and letting us make our own choices as citizens. Right? Able to pay my rent, buy my kids presents, be able to work when I'm able. But no, I have to be on administration.
Let me say this.
Let's face it, hey,
Yeah.
good people don't rule the world.
Right?
Well,
That's the way it works.
let me just say this. We're talking in a lot of colloquialisms, which is great, right? But we're talking colloquialism, right? I mean, how many times, I don't know how old you are, probably 45, 50.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that in history, we've put out a lot of colloquialisms, like, well, that's your government. Well, that's, you know what I mean? That's way, right? I mean, I've heard that forever. I'm 60, right? I guess the question becomes, when do we stop using colloquialism and really start to attack? What do you think?
When you ultimately cannot afford food, then you rely 100% dependently upon the government, which is exactly what they want.
Yeah,
and it's been
yes
said.
and no.
How does it work?
Yes and no.
Total population of
they
food.
want
That's
you.
exactly. They're pushing our whole country into a third world country.
So let me ask you a
That's what's
question.
gonna happen.
Hang on, let me ask you a
There's
question.
absolutely. What can you do? You gotta go stand up against the government. You show up at all these meetings and stuff. Be part of it.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
I'm a community league president.
So there you go.
I
So
was at
that's
the
how
lowest
you
form
do
of
it.
municipal government. I started food programs. Right?
Yeah.
Food programs, entertainment programs, anti-racism seminars.
That's the
I
only-
started to change.
Do what you're doing is the only way to do it.
Yeah, I started to change my community for the better, but I was only able to do that when I got assured income, allowing me to work at my own pace with my own freedom. And that's what they're taking from me.
And so let me ask you one question. Do you personally, I mean, you look like a blue collar guy to me. You look like maybe an artist. Do you feel the pinch at all in your own life?
100%.
Okay.
I trust me. I feel it myself.
Yeah.
But people like me are starting to feel it. There's a big
They're the
problem.
canary in the coal mine.
Well, I understand. A lot of people post me around like age or disability and stuff like that. So I totally understand. And it's horrible. But what can you do? Do what you guys are doing.
Do what we're doing.
Do what we're doing. Just keep building it, man.
No, I
That's all you
appreciate
can
that.
do, and you guys gotta stand
I
up.
appreciate that because I wanted to ask you. That's an important question.
Like it's $200 a month to some people is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
$200 is not a lot of money, but it still is a lot of money, especially when you need.
Well, it's a lot of money
depends
when
on
you're
I
living
get my
$6,000
children gifts or not.
underneath the
Yes.
right underneath the
I know.
$200 a lot, and it's about to become $400. So I mean, yes, it's immediate for us. It's a little slow moving for you, but even you can admit you feel the pinch.
Well, then the issue becomes they'd be like, well, if you're on ACE, you can still work a little bit, is what they'll say, right?
Yeah.
So that's their comeback to it.
Right.
So, but the thing is for anybody to try to get a job, say you want a part-time job, it's extremely hard to get. Then that's a whole other subject I really don't want to get into because
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
That's a whole other subject.
But
So
suffice to
it's a
say,
big problem.
suffice to say
Hey,
that we're gonna Just let me
Same
say
with-
this: we're going to saturate the market with an extra 80,000 people.
Work.
Right. I mean,
It didn't work for
oh. Well,
It didn't work for Britain.
let me tell you this.
But it's nowadays.
Can I just
Anyways,
let me say this?
He's trying to make it a small exit. We gotta let it. We can't trap anybody. We gotta let it.
It's okay. I don't want it. It's a good subject because it's a rabbit hole.
Let me say
right?
this.
It really
Let me
is.
say he
Yeah,
can
well,
go
it
and
is.
he can leave
I know,
anytime
I'm
he
free
wants.
to go whenever I want.
Exactly. Let me ask you this. Do you know? Have you ever heard of the Heritage Fund?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how much we have in the Heritage Fund?
Probably fuck all though.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. They've spent it. They've used it. In which way, I don't know. But apparently it's not there like it used to be.
And when-
Remember in the days of Ralph Klein, he was the one that started that stuff.
No.
Ralph Klein started attacking
no.
H. That's why he was voted out.
No. Peter Lougheed started it.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Peter Long.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay. So Peter Lougheed started, and when you say they, who do you mean by that?
The government.
Which government?
That I don't know. I'm not into politics that much.
Okay.
Like at all, really. I stay out of politics because it's all doesn't matter who you vote for or anything. They'll raise taxes and keep taking money from you. Period.
Okay.
Like I said, until you get to the point that you can't go to the grocery store, you absolutely cannot rely on yourself. The government wants you to rely solely on the government. They want everybody to destroy the middle class. There is no middle class. It's either rich or poor.
And so you're saying that when that happens, what then happens? When you
That's
can't
when
go to
you rely solely on the government to get what they want.
It's
That's
not,
my
relying,
opinion
it's not
about it.
relying on the government. They want you so desperate that you don't have time to fight back.
Exactly.
Because
They
people
want you
on
to fight
homeless
back and stand
aren't
up
relying on
against
the government. Let's make sure they don't die, right? But it's make sure that you are so overworked, so busy, so
We're people.
distraught,
We're spendable, I guess the best way to put it.
right?
the best way to
Better
put it.
off to pay
Well,
disabled.
especially if you're a white Canadian.
It's
Well,
better
I'm
off
sure
to
you're
pay.
definitely- They don't want you here.
So,
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That much.
Yeah, man.
so
Okay, so that was a very interesting
let's
conversation.
talk on the aspect for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay? Because he's saying at a point, you're just going to lie on the government. Da-da-da, da-da-da. That's a talking point. So he does not feel involved, worthy enough, or worth enough to be involved in politics. They've already got him. He's not going to vote. He's not going to pay attention to politics. He suggested separatism. And then at the same time going, I don't get involved in politics. He's been taught by right wing. He's been trained into a non-voter because he thinks that it's not worth his time to be involved in the cultural application of societal control that is our government. And when that happens, you lose your rights, you lose your ability to get income, your children lose health care, poor people start dying. When they trick you that it's not worth enough to actually be involved in politics.
Let me expand on that a little bit because I agree with you. I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
But I think there's an element to this where people we suffer perennially from the same thing, and that is looking for a savior or getting someone else to do our work. So the one thing this guy wouldn't say, that I was surprised.
Yeah.
When I asked him, what do you do when you get to that point? He said, well, then I guess you just become part of the apparatus. What I was hoping he would say is that you fight back.
Right?
But he never said it.
Yeah.
And so this is perennial. This is what we've incurred for at least my 60 years. Is the fact that we're still looking for a savior, and we will not admit that the only way to get what we need back is to do it ourselves.
You gotta be angry enough to fight. That's what we gotta have.
Right.
Be angry enough to fight now. They want you to not have the chutzpah to fight. Any moment you're at a town hall, any moment you're in front of a politician, anytime you're in front of a friend, and you want it, and you tell that what's right and what you feel right, you need to tell people. Because the social faux pas of we don't talk politics keeps politics in the back room.
And I can tell you this, you may not want to talk about politics, but politics is talking about you, okay? So you don't have the luxury of saying, I don't want to talk about politics. You're already being talked about, and you're being talked about in the most nefarious way. So I don't know, if I called my good buddy here an asshole, he would take umbrage with that immediately.
I mean,
Why? Right, well, he can be, I'm sure. I'm not his girlfriend, she's over here. She can attest to that. Regardless, you wouldn't take immediate umbrage with the fact that I did that about you. This is what our government says on a daily basis about us, not the disabled class. Every Albertan, every Canadian, every person in the world, and we don't fight that. That's very interesting to me. Let me just say interesting. Go ahead.
Remember, they don't do it directly. They'll do big, flowery words. Okay? Most of what's happening with ADEP right now, the words they're using is the people will find positive feelings with employment. I find positive feelings without starving or going homeless. Right? The aspect of the words positivity of employment is long words for we're stealing from the disabled because they can't fight back that hard. We're asking questions. Separatism. She's pushing through separatism through every freaking barrier there is. She literally used people voted against it, so therefore we should have spent a $93 million referendum over it. Right? You're using people who voted against separatism as an excuse to vote for separatism. You see how they use that word to flip the meaning on its head?
Right.
That's half of what government is.
Very astute, actually. Very astute to see that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have apprehended that before.
The only reason I can see these patterns now is I've read up on politics from World War II back to the Bronze Age, and it really hasn't changed.
Let me ask you this, because so have I. So, are you a fan of Thomas Paine's writing?
I'd have to see a face or something like that.
Okay.
There's so many.
So you haven't read a lot of Thomas Paine?
I might have read his work.
Yeah.
Don't recognize his name.
Somebody to really look into.
Yeah.
Thomas Paine had his shit together. He really did. Okay, so, I mean, this is, the kind of cats we're meeting down here, ladies and gentlemen. These aren't, you know what I mean? These aren't pussy cats. These are roaring fucking lions, down here in the moment, giving their what? Their thoughts, their opinions, their ideologies, their histories. Some academia, even if it's not formal, in respect to what we are incurring right now in this very moment. So I really appreciate what you had to say. If we get back to Mesopotamia or wherever we're headed.
We started at collectivism.
Okay.
Why is collectivism breaking down?
Good.
Right?
Good.
Right? So here, it's mostly colonial, right? So they pitted tribes against tribes. They made allies. Tribes allied with colonial powers to gain power and guns, and then they play each other off each other. The major reason, even with the aspect of disease, the native populations were able to resist colonization is because they were separated from the collective identity as Native Americans, right?
Which is the difference between, where did we go back to when we were discussing this?
Yeah.
One was collected, Rome, and who? Remember?
Rome and the Persian Empire.
And the Persian Empire, which we said was?
They believed in Zoroastrianism.
Zoroastrianism.
Which was a state religion.
Which brought forward collectivism.
Yeah, which bound them in a tighter collective formation. Than Rome's multi-god, polytheistic religion set.
Right, which meant the disparate nature of Rome could not fight back against the collective form of Zoroastrianism. Very interesting.
They could not convert nobles into their power structure because the nobles were already adhered to a one-state religion, which prevented mental intrusion, and they were punished for deviating from it, right? Which is why Rome adopted Christianity, because it became a state religion and allowed them to more or less convert areas without military action.
They became collectivized. Rome realized their mistake, and therefore gained power under the Christian flag. Because before that, they were disparate, and they could not take over.
They could not
from Zoroastrianism.
And after that,
from Syria.
Yeah. So they bound themselves together as singular identity. That's when they used it to hold the empire together and yada yada yada.
Very interesting.
But we're tying that to today, okay? Because right now we're moving the rise of individualism, the rise of the nuclear family, the rise of anti-collective behavior, union breaking, is all based on breaking our power as a group. Okay? Because the biggest thing the government fears is groups working together instead of separate individual ideologies. Okay?
Right. Why did Rome try to destroy Christianity? Because it was a collectivized system of things.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying they believe in Christianity as a rule. We're not saying that. But what we're saying is that this is the historical fact of how governments work.
Use religion as an operating collective control, as an ideology. Now, the same thing is used here, but we call it capitalism. Okay? Capitalism is an overriding ideology, binding people in a group aspect, a group behavior. Okay? But to exist, capitalism, which is a method of acquiring resources, its biggest threat is collectivism. Okay? People binding together to go, my area, my resources aren't up for grabs. Okay? There's a reason conservatives in Alberta have power in the rural areas. That's where the money is. That's where the oil, farming, cattle, forest industry, those districts are where the money is.
Right.
And if I'm sorry, my conservative rural brothers and sisters, they teach you to be individualistic. Your household, you're the man of the household. You don't rely on anyone else. You don't rely on the government. That is designed to keep you feeling isolated and off balance, so they can push things like data centers and improper royalties on resources and mine you out, make themselves rich, and convince you that you're independent. Right. That's what's happening. Right. We fight with the gerrymandering they're doing right now. They're going to push through two of their consultants to push through the map that guarantees they split city districts into rural districts as well, so they can dampen our ability.
Data center.
Oh yeah.
In Bill 12.
Right? This brings back to this.
Oh, is that Bill 12?
Bill 12.
And data centers are part of.
The government.
Go ahead. God damn it! How many people are in here right now? Hang on. One person. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. You can do better. This is going to lay it out for you.
It's basically saying that when O'Reilly's data center is built, they're able to use our tax information to program their AI. They're taking your personal information to train O'Leary's AI.
It's in Bill 12.
Right.
That jackass trader found down Mar-a-Lago with the orange RAPE president. It's got Daniel Smith to write a law that allows the government to sell them our personal information. You know that's happening right now? Share that loud. Share that everywhere. They are literally stealing our identities and treating it like it's a benefit to us.
And shame on you if you want to give an apologetic for the government and for what we just read you, which is a part of Bill 12. I know there's only one person on here right now, and we love you. And we're probably not talking to you. But whoever watches this, don't you dare try to make it apologetic for your government or religion for that matter. This is the direction we're headed, and it is in Bill 12, all right, which also Bill 12 aligns with, Chantel, Bill 12 aligns with our appeal rights being removed.
Our rights of dignity, our legal rights to appeal decisions. Like, have you watched what they did with unions? Like, for years, the UCP has crushed every right for self-determination and collective bargaining ever since they got into power. And now they're making sure the disabled community is so off kilter that we're not willing to defend ourselves, and they're literally stealing money, stealing food from the mouths of our own children. I have to complicate whether I next. Luckily, I got pushed back to age because I'm disabled enough. They decided, I don't know how they decided, but now I'm worried about my other friends on age, whether they can afford food for their kids, rent for their kids, rent for their homes, their kids, Christmas presents. Age got so low once, the only thing I could get for Christmas for my nephew was a pizza. That was I could buy him for Christmas.
Wow.
Luckily, it's better now.
What,
because the
you
federal
bought a
government
pizza
did it.
for your niece?
My nephew.
Your
My niece
nephew.
wasn't born yet.
You lucky bastard. I couldn't
Right.
even do that.
Like,
I couldn't
right?
even do the pizza.
That's only because I live with family.
Yeah,
I don't pay for my own condo.
right.
My family pays for a townhouse together.
Holy
Three
shit.
separate incomes.
Wow.
And even then, we're in my brother's in the flat.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The only ability I'm able to save money is because I've lived with other people to pay the other half of their rent. I save them with my income.
Right.
Right?
And thus you saved yourself,
And thus
which
I
is
saved
which
myself.
is a good argument for collectivism, isn't it?
Like
I'm not saying.
no, it is.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
Because collectively, taxes paid for my age allows me to improve my area in the workability I have. If I was removed as an aspect in my community, there's no more food program, there's no more movie day, there's no more community because no one's willing to do it. Because everyone is so overworked, they can't do volunteer work, which supports the majority of this community. The unpaid volunteer work that this government does not track, so they can justify paying us less.
So a director may
Paying us
delegate
less,
any power
having unions
to
unable to
appoint,
bargain.
conferred or imposed
Let me
by
ask you
the
this,
director under the
because I
Act.
want to wrap this in all in context.
Yeah.
We talked about it a lot. We talked about Zoroastrianism. We talked about
Well,
Syria.
the concept the evolution of the concept of collectivism
Right.
within a cultural sense.
Right. We've talked about Rome. We've talked about Babylon. We've talked about a lot of things. So, in your estimation, how should history be informing us today?
That the only way a culture or society survives is through collective action. So the basis of our first evolution, sociopaths and psychopaths, okay, people who are outside the social collective norm, get ostracized because they do not support the group. Okay? It's only under certain forms of control like capitalism that aspect gets destroyed to guarantee elite control, not collective control. Okay? Societies fall when they become individualistic. When society fractures into small groups not working to a greater whole. Okay? Rome fractured when their ideals of a collective Rome fractured into specific city-states vying for control.
And would we have called any of that identity politics?
Not at the time.
Okay, because it seems to me, if we touch on this at all, it seems to me like identity politics is a way to fracture us, not bring us together.
It is.
Go ahead.
Low battery mode. It is because was it word used on the ring?
What did I say?
Identity politics.
Identity politics. Yes.
So identity
Thanks,
politics is used to separate you from your actual identity. Let me explain, okay? If you feel more in line with what some random butthead online is saying than your actual community as it presents itself, you're easier led to vote or vote in a way that butthead wants, right? They say identity politics because they want you to remove yourself from your true identity, as in a member of your community.
Okay, so what is your true identity then?
Well, a member of your community.
Where does it really?
Okay,
Do you think it goes any further back than that?
so
I do. Sorry, I'm
not a
challenging
lot
you.
of people recognize this at all.
Yeah.
It's just what's normal. It's just what they're raised with. It's just the way it's always been, right? But I have more in line. I have more in line with my ideology with an immigrant from Syria than I do with a person who lives in a house with 10 bedrooms, a big lobby, 3 cars, up on the hill. Okay? Culturally, I have more in line with a low-income person, immigrant from another country, than I do with the people actually owning property en masse in the place I live.
Okay, let me stop you. We're talking cultural identity.
Yep.
I'm talking about ultimate identity. Because cultural identity is an ideology,
Yeah.
right? It can't have biological aspects, but we won't go there. What is the underlying connection that we have to each other in order to understand each other better and to collectivize better.
Okay.
Because
So,
that can't be cultural.
well, it's both. Because, like I said, culture is part of our biology. It's an aspect of our biology. We wouldn't have it if it didn't help us survive and evolve and have kids.
Okay?
Right?
Right.
But because it's a mental realm aspect,
Uh-huh.
it evolves faster than our physical biology.
Okay.
Right?
But what is the connective tissue that binds us all? You already said you were one of these.
Yeah. Okay. So,
You know where I'm going?
we're talking about identity politics.
Right.
Okay.
And we're talking about true meaning.
Yeah.
Where does true meaning come from?
True meaning? How are we getting meaning of lifestyle?
Okay. You already said, I'll give you a hint. I hate to blow the lead here, but
Yeah.
you said you're a humanist.
Yeah.
Isn't that the basis of all humanity?
It is,
Okay.
but again, I cannot, as a humanist, I cannot say I'm greater than other religions' aspects. It's just I respect all aspects and all views.
I'm not saying that. Those are ideologies. I'm saying the simple fact that you exist, right,
Yeah.
as a sentient being, along with an evolved species, is really the core of your existence.
Yes,
Okay.
but as a humanist,
Yeah. Yeah.
my identity, my culture, my religion, not religion, like you say it is,
Right.
binds me emotionally, caring for everybody
Okay.
than a specific nation, place, or city.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
So Christianity, or nationalism,
Right.
or city pride
Right.
binds you to a city,
Right.
a province, a nation, or a religion.
Right. But
Right?
I want to be careful here because, to define yourself as a humanist is a second order consideration to the first order of merely existing.
Yeah.
So
well, that's
because
the
we
first-
because we exist as a human species, that is our first principle. Because we are born and we know we are born.
Yeah.
Right? That constitutes a fourth order.
I see, therefore I am.
Right, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And so it is in that I think that binds us ultimately together, and then isms
Yeah.
come from that.
And I think the biggest divide, right, is everyone can only see out their eyes. Right? You are not this. You are the salt fat thing sitting inside a bone case, looking through a lens,
Okay.
interpreting what it sees from the light it interprets and absorbs. You don't see. You interpret light.
Exactly.
Okay?
Right.
Right? Everything you are, everything you have been, is floating in a salt ion solution reaction inside a bone.
Right.
Okay? Right? I can't see from what he sees. I can't experience what he experiences. His childhood, growing up, is not the memory cascade I have in my mind when I think of a location.
Right. And I haven't told him to think about me. So
Right?
yeah.
So to understand from what he sees, I have to listen to what his life, his experience, his culture, and view it through his lens.
And what does that breed?
Collectivism.
And
Uh,
empathy.
empathy.
Empathy. Right? The thing that keeps you from being a narcissist.
The thing that keeps you in a collective group.
Right. Amen.
Right?
Amen. Amen. I'll go with that.
Because otherwise, they try to eliminate that from you. So you only operate as an individual. Which I'm going to tie to politics. Right to work. Right to work isn't a right to work. It's basically saying you don't have to pay dues, collective dues, for collective action, which weakens a union, which guarantees a corporation, which by itself has collective action, the money and the power they hold, to fight against you, the individual.
Right.
They do it to break your empathy and your collectivism, so you can be victimized or used as a resource.
Right, and let me also remind anybody that's going to watch this that these people that we are, behind us at the Parliament building or anything are all the same salt bath,
Yeah.
same salt bath, living
brain
in
cave.
what? In a brain cave.
Yeah.
They are no better than you. They are no greater than you. They harbor no intellect beyond yours, and they see things in their own way. And that way, we believe, has become corrupted.
Yeah. Because
Yeah, go ahead.
because every culture in the world, which is why identity politics is a false view of viewing the world, okay? Because every culture in the world So wakes up, wants to eat their favorite food, wants to see their children smile, wants to experience the sun and the wind. They want to try the world. They have their favorite foods, their favorite pets, their favorite people. Every person on the planet has that. It's expressed through their culture, yes, but it's no different from how you see the world and how you experience it. But identity politics tries to break that realization, so you only see them as a foreign adversary or an other, which is just like dehumanizing aspects of World War II propaganda, the Nazis and anti-Jewish posters and propaganda.
And anti-handicap ideology and anti-gay.
Anti-gay.
Right.
Because let's take an aspect. The first people to die in the Holocaust were the handicapped. They institutionalized us. They experimented on us. They lied to our parents saying we would be okay. Okay? Not any other faith, any other identity. It was disabled people that was turned first because people could not empathize with us. We were seen as other because we were physically different. It was easier. We were the first target. Fascists always attack the disabled first. Our government is saying we take up too much resources. There are too many people with COVID-related mental issues. Yada, yada, yada. We are using too many eaters. We are useless eaters. We create no economic value. But that is a false premise. Because the money given to us as Albertans cannot even leave Alberta unless we're buying from Amazon or some sort of thing. Okay? I buy from Albertan businesses, Albertan stores, from Albertans and my community. We are reinvestment sectors. They give us money so we don't become homeless. We can buy food. We can make sure our children have presents so they smile and enjoy our lives because our disabilities are our job. We put money back into Alberta. They're pretending like the money just goes up in a puff of smoke.
If you find people that have
Right?
We haven't even tapped into our resources, ladies and gentlemen. We have ostensibly, we should be at $1.6 trillion in our heritage fund. We have 30 billion,
We
and that's
produce more than Norway and get less in royalties.
exactly. Well, Norway's 15th in oil reserves.
Yeah.
We're number 4
Yeah.
in oil reserves.
We can
A
produce
province,
more.
not a country. One single province is the 4th largest oil reserve in the world. Okay, and we want to blame Ottawa for that. That is under our own purview, in which we have RAPED'd, our resources and the people, and your pocketbook, since the mid '80s, really.
Since the mid '80s, when they started to degrade the royalties.
Right.
Okay, why doesn't it make sense that the resources of Alberta goes to Albertans so they can spend it in Alberta, and then keep our country floating? Why are we paying foreign companies to administer our needs? Why are we paying any foreign company to take our resources?
Well, yeah. Foreign military NGOs.
Like,
Okay, we broke that down on the last podcast. This is a foreign military NGO, non-governmental organization. Okay? And you don't think that this is mission creep, ladies and gentlemen? Like, you can't, once again, you have to have some sense of pattern recognition. You have to see where things lead. That's why I believe you've probably done some history, and I've done some history, is because I want to be able to see in the present what has existed in the past, so that I don't repeat that same mistake on a personal level, and my government doesn't repeat it on a greater scale.
And I'm able to empathize with people of different cultures without experiencing their experiences. Okay? Like just the ability of history to understand how I'm being screwed over. Why people act a certain way. Why people react to me and my community a certain way. And what actually is the better path. Because do not let this government and other governments and capitalist-based structures trick you into thinking that collective action and support from the ground up isn't the way it's supposed to be. Because that is the basis of every culture throughout history. It's collective action from the ground up.
It's the only way it's ever happened, ladies and gentlemen. It's the only way it will happen in the future. And that's why I'm glad I have a gentleman sitting to my left here that tends to understand what so many people don't. And it's very rare, like I said with Chantel, it's very rare that you meet an individual in which there is synchronicity and some semblance of synonymity, right? Where we can both be synonymous and really agree on the greater facts of the case. So I appreciate it, bro. Like, thank you so much. Do you have anything else?
Anything else? Just know that as Albertans, our resources should be going to Albertans, and that means anyone who moves here. Anyone who moves here who wants to appreciate Alberta, wants to live free, wants to have their children have safe education in a place where they can grow up free and safe from the turmoils of the world that have afflicted them. If they're willing to be here to support the community and collective action, and that the kids go in our school and appreciate the community we have, they're every bit as Albertan as anyone who's been here for more than 3 generations. And has more, and every low-income person, an immigrant, has more in solidarity with the actual Native Canadians than the shining people on the hill who keep telling you that you have to act individually without support network.
Right. This is why Chantal and I are doing what we're doing. This is the only reason we exist, because we believe that collectivism is the only way to get ultimately what we want. And we know that if we work hard for you, you'll work hard for us. That's how collectivism works. I fix my neighbor's sink because I know someday my neighbor is going to do good by me.
True collectivism anarchy, where everyone works. Okay. This is of course the last thought. They say to encourage us to work, but humans work as a natural aspect of being human. I help my neighbor with his garden. His wife cooks us food. Okay? With my age, with my income, I'm a community league president. Within my good days and my physical ability, I'm able to do group events, okay? Barbecues, carnivals, a glow-in-the-dark haunted house, a food program. I work to improve my community, but it is not on a ledger. The government can't prove how much financial improvement I make with my volunteering. So they can pretend I don't work, right? But as a human, I work naturally. And if I can't physically do anything to that level of work, what on planet Earth does this government expect me to live on? Right?
Right. How do they expect you to exist if you literally can't do anything? And part of the problem under capitalism is capitalism has you working for another means to another end that really has no comport to your life. It is not what you want, it is what they want. And you are going to work to that end, not to your own means and not for that of your neighbor. This is capitalism, it is individualism, and it is every ism that is leading us to the point we are at today, where our very lives are being compromised by government legislation once again. So I'm just gonna. You good?
I have one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
He's always going to have one last thing. I can tell you that.
I know, but I got it in my head. Under Aish, I live more free than somebody who has 2 jobs or a big corporate job or a power engineer. Okay? I'm able to be free. I'm able to put my labor where I can to improve my community. And because of that, because our ability to be truly free, they fear that the most.
Right, that's good. That's very good. I mean, I'm so glad, you came over today. And I had to get this on for posterity.
I'm so glad because, like the video from the AFL, I was at the AFL protest, guys. Remember me?
Yep.
I couldn't find it anywhere, and it's here, and it's so good. And we planned the whole day, and my partner planned the day to help me today. My partner helps me shower because it makes it faster and easier. She bought me a shower chair. Okay, we're talking about like collective action. I have to be showered by another adult for it to be any faster than 2 hours.
Romantic.
Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. That is so hot right now.
Well, physically, yeah.
Yeah. It is a little warm out here, I'll give you that. The biggest thing, when you close, the biggest thing you said to me was the fact that we all work anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. We all work, right? You help somebody out, you're working, right? You take a shower, you're working. Because you're not just taking a shower to do nothing with it, you're taking a shower because you need to engage for tense somewhere else, right? The fact that a government wants to dictate what you're going to do under a sense of capitalism and only something that ultimately benefits them is we've got it backwards. We've got it the wrong way around, and it's time to take that back. And the way to take that back is just what he said, collectivism.
Take back our freedom, through collective action.
Right. So just to be, just to show you guys exactly what we're talking about, stick with me. Thank you. I just want to show you what is happening today around here. And I want to give you an understanding of what is in the background, okay? And the fact that this is what we're fighting against. We're fighting against a monolithic structure, but more so an ideology that is basically destroying the lives of 80,000 people. That's why we're here. That's why this sign exists. And I hope y'all, tune into the podcast, like, share, subscribe. We are trying to get the word out the best we can. We're taking no money for this because we'd be seriously the biggest assholes in the world to ask anybody for anything. We are doing this because we have love in our hearts and we know what it means to collectivize. So I appreciate you. And I know we all here right now really appreciate you. All right. Families are out here. People are doing their work today. All right. Some people are disingenuously, praising the government for destroying their lives. And we're out here trying to sell or not sell anything, but give the truth to people that otherwise don't understand what's going on in their own life. So I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, subscribe, and we will be back with this podcast on Friday at 6 p.m. as soon as I get back to Calgary. Love y'all. Stay well. And most importantly, courage!